Well, hello. As Kate was saying, my name is Richard Llewellyn, and I'm the Executive Director of TiME, which is Technology in Music Education here in the UK. And really excited to have EarMaster with us today, Nils from EarMaster with us here today to talk about Aural. I think Aural is so important. I'm a trumpet player, and so playing all the time as a musician. And I think aural skills is one of the fundamentals of being a musician. So I think aural is very, very important. And it's not just about if people have got perfect pitch or know where notes are. I believe it's one in 10,000 people are meant to have perfect pitch, apparently. But it's not just about the pitch. It's also about the timing, keeping in pulse with people that you're playing along with, listening to other people, checking your intonation is correct, listening to your sound and the qualities of your sound, as well as not learning not to rush and things like that. So there's a lot there within aural that I think is very, very important. So it's great to have Nils with us from EarMaster. Are you there, Nils?
Yes, I'm here.
Fantastic. So if you want to share the screen, spotlight the screen.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Hello,
And
everyone.
it would be great if you could tell us a bit about EarMaster, perhaps a little bit of history or something to start with, and then we can go from there.
Yes, sure. Thank you very much, Richard. And thank you for inviting me to be part of this webinar series. I'm really excited about that. And also excited about sharing what we've been working with at EarMaster for some time now. And of course, to give a general introduction to EarMaster and how you can use the app EarMaster for teaching. So a little bit of history about the company. Sure, I can do that. We're not new around. We've actually been in the business here since 1996 when the first version of EarMaster came out. A lot has happened since then, but the main idea is actually still the same. And the idea came up because my boss and colleague Hans, who is the founder of the company, he was studying for an admission test to the conservatoire in Denmark, and he had to do a lot of oral training. And he had a friend come over, play chords and scales and different things on the piano to practice with him. And he thought there has to be some kind of technical way where I can. It's nice that my friend comes over, but maybe I could save a little bit of time for him. So he came up with this idea of inventing a piece of software for that purpose, and eventually ended up studying engineering and programming this app himself. That's the story. That's like the idea behind, to give a practice tool that you can use for aural when you can use it anywhere when you're on your own at home, or you can use it in school as an educational tool. So that's a little bit of the background. I also want to share my screen and show you a few things. So
That'd be
if you
great.
hang on just a little. There you go. And so this is like the headline for this little presentation: teaching aural training and introducing aural training for ABRSM, a new course that we've developed and added recently to the EarMaster app. And I should say from the beginning that this course is not affiliated with the organization ABRSM, but it's developed to help students prepare for the ABRSM Aural Tests. So the exercises are designed to match the skills required in these tests. And if we have people from other countries, I should say that ABRSM is an English exam board, but their syllabuses are used in many countries. And we're used to at EarMaster to dealing with many different cultures and languages. EarMaster's in 15 different languages, and well, fortunately, ABRSM is also known in quite a lot of countries. So for today, I'm going to give you a little introduction to the EarMaster app, its courses and activities, and as well as the educational solution EarMaster Cloud and its teaching tools. And then, of course, looking at the new course just mentioned. And lastly, we'd like to give the opportunity to participate with your comments or questions. And of course, we're going to be looking at a lot of music examples and exercises in the app, because this is where all the fun and the learning takes place. And when you open the app, it looks like this. This is the home screen of EarMaster. And first, we have the beginner's course for beginners to intermediate level. Then the general workshops, which contains the largest number of exercises of all the courses and goes from Key Stage 2 to conservatory level. The RCM Voice, which prepares students for taking the oral tests of the Royal Conservatory of Music's voice syllabus, the Royal Conservatory of Music, which is based in Canada. And then the new course, Aural Trainer for ABRSM, grade 1 to 5. And the jazz workshops, covering from Key Stage 3 and up, and with a focus on jazz music, swing rhythms, advanced harmony, etc. And then the green logo is your own music class, and you can have several classes and name them as you want as a teacher. This is also how your students will see it, a green logo with the class name. And here they can find exactly the exercises you want them to do if you have selected or created exercises for them. And lastly, the customized exercise section, where students can define the exercises themselves to match just the skills they want to improve. And if I click on one of the workshops, I come to an overview of the different activities in the app. And those are divided into 5 sections with intervals, chords, scales, rhythm, and melodies. And there are actually quite a lot more hiding behind them that you can use if you change the settings within each of these 14 activities. If you're not familiar with the activities in EarMaster, you can download the app on your computer, your phone, or your tablet and check out some of the free exercises. You can do that from our website, or you can also find the app on in App Store or Google Play. And the EarMaster app is used by everyone. Actually, in most of the countries, we have EarMaster users around the world. But it's not only used by private musicians, it's also used by students and schools. And for that, we have the educational solution that we call EarMaster Cloud. And EarMaster Cloud, all schools and choirs and music hubs that use EarMaster get an EarMaster Cloud account, which works like a platform that links people together and keeps data synchronized via the cloud. So this means that a user can install the app on many devices and switch between them. The users can also work online or offline without problems. School computers or school tablets are not necessary, but if your school has these, then the students can use them while in school, and they can continue working on their own devices outside of school. And with the cloud synchronization, make sure that these data are always synchronized, and you can continue where you left even if you change device. The cloud also connects students and educators, so teachers can create assignments, assign them to students, and see their results. And students can see and work with the exercises assigned to them. And they can also just work freely with all the built-in courses in the app, thousands of exercises. And these things are managed with the teaching tools. So now we're back on the app's home screen, but with teacher view selected down here. Of course, this is only available for teachers, music teachers. The first of these tools is the student results section, which is used to monitor the students' progress and check their scores for assignments and tests, see how much they've been practicing, and so on. The assignment manager, where you choose assignments and give them to the individual students or classes and make them pop up when they open their app. And the workbook editor, where you can select or create assignments. And lastly, the music library, which has several hundreds of scores that you can draw from when creating exercises. You can also add your own scores, scales, and chords if you want. So it's important to say that using these tools is just an option. The main thing, of course, is giving students access to use the app and practice with it. And especially if you're letting them work with the pre-designed courses, such as the new course, preparatory course for ABRSM Aural Tests, then you don't need to think about creating assignments. You can just let them work through that course. But if you want, you can create your own assignments or adjust the ones already in the courses. Yeah. You can also just once in a while check their results. I did that with an assignment that I gave to a class of my own students, a class with only 6 students, and here is what it looked like for this assignment. An assignment that was preparing them actually for the admission test to the conservatoire in Aarhus in Denmark, where I'm teaching. And this little list of results, each line represents a student. And looking at the student, for example, we can see that the student has completed all lessons. No, sorry, 10 out of 14 lessons here. Of those 10, only 9 were passed, and she has spent 1 hour and 30 minutes practicing. If we compare that with the student just below, we can see that this student has completed all the lessons and also passed them all. She's been practicing for over 8.5 hours. She's been going through the exercises several times because there are 14 exercises called lessons here or exercise areas. And going through those many times, she has been doing 233 attempts on those 14 lessons. And it's with an average score of 78% and a best attempt score on 94%, which is meaning that she has improved quite a lot from starting maybe around probably in the 60s, 60% up to 94% as the best attempt. So the student results section can show you much more details, but we may get back to that a bit later. Yeah, but now we're going to continue with looking at the new course called Aural Trainer for ABRSM. And it is made to help students prepare for ABRSM oral tests, but can be used whether or not you're working towards these tests. Its exercises cover a vast area of oral training, such as pulse and meter, imitation with clap back and sing back, spotting differences between two versions of a melody, recognizing musical features and stylistic traits in a piece of music, melodic sight singing and rhythmic sight reading, and it's covering UK grades 1 to 5, taking students from a basic level to a medium advanced level corresponding to the GCSE in an English context, and probably somewhere around the second or third year in high school in an American context. So, what I want to do with you now is toggle over to EarMaster and show you some exercises in the course Aural Trainer for ABRSM. So here we are on the app's home screen, and I click the Aural Trainer for ABRSM, and just a quick glance shows us that we have grade 1, grade 2, 3, 4, 5, and for each of the grades there is a final step. For example, the first has 4 different sections, and the final step, which is meant as a little test to go through, just like you would at a regular oral test. Let's look at some examples. Let's take grade 1 and pulse and meter, duple and triple meter. So there is, of course, a pedagogical progression in all of these different sections. And here it is, you start just by feeling the pulse, you go from duple to triple meter, and lastly you get exercises with both. There is always a introduction to each of the exercises with explanations, tips, information, music theoretical background, etc. But let's for now just jump right into the exercise. So we're going to be hearing a piece of music, and my task as the user is to tap the rhythm, just to tap the pulse. So this is like a very basic exercise. And as a help, the notes up here are shown corresponding with the beat. So I click record answer, and with this one, I'm just going to tap on the spacebar. If it's a phone, you just tap on the screen, and this is how it goes. Okay, So a main feature and a main idea in EarMaster is also giving the user instant feedback, because we believe that's a really effective way of improving. So the feedback I get is that the triangles show me where I hit, and the little symbols below show me if I was on spot, or if I was too late as here, or too early as here. I get an overall rough evaluation with 4 out of 5 stars for this question, and a cumulative score here for this question only is it's 88%. Green means that it is above the level where you are expected to progress and just keep practicing. Yeah. Let's take a look at another exercise. If I go out again into the main menu, and let's take a look at the musical features. Here is a minuet in G minor by Bach. Now, these musical feature exercises start at a really basic level, just listening for dynamics and articulation. And even if this seems easy, I think that still creating an awareness of what to listen for in music and express yourself in words about it is really beneficial. So here we click play and listen for dynamics and articulation. So we listen, we think about what happened in the music, click next to read the questions. Did it begin the music loudly or quietly? Did the change happen? The change in dynamics happen suddenly or gradually? Was the beginning played with smooth or detached notes? And the user, the student, answers these, talking to herself or himself, and checking the answers by clicking next and seeing that it began loudly, it changed suddenly to more quiet, and it began with smooth notes. And then with the answers, you can just review or check again by listening to the piece. Yeah. And if we jump to grade 2 and another kind of exercise, the differences. Listening for differences between two versions of a melody. This is training your musical memory, and the course has many different exercises with different approaches to training your musical memory. So let's first look at an exercise that matches what a student can expect at an ABRSM Aural test. With first, you get a key chord, you get a tonic played, you get 2 bars of count in, and then a short phrase played twice with a change in pitch or rhythm in the second playing. So let's try that in this one. So we listen, we get E chord, a tonic, count in 1 and 2, and then and the repetition. And you have to explain what happened. Did the change take place in the beginning, towards the end? Was it a change in pitch or in rhythm? And here it was a change in pitch towards the end. And by clicking next, we get the solution. In the second playing, the penultimate note was at a higher pitch. Dum ba dum instead of ya dum pi. And we can hear the whole thing again to compare. And yeah. If we click next here, we get to another approach to musical memory training. And this is a rhythmic error detection exercise. Let's just jump right into the exercise. And when I click new question, we see a short excerpt of a rhythm. And here that rhythm played, but with an error. And our task, of course, is to locate that error. I click the note that was, in this case, missing. I click submit answer, and I get a correct evaluation. Let's take another one. Here it seemed to me that this was the one that was missing. And the last one. Here it seems this one was changed to 2 notes instead. Let's give it a wrong answer, just to see how that looks. Again, we get instant feedback showing us that there was a change here you didn't mark, and then there wasn't a change here that you marked. So yeah. Let's go back again to the main menu. And go to grade 3 to take a look at another kind of exercise. Under the echo section here. So the goal, there's quite a lot of exercises here leading towards the goal, which is that the student should be able to sing 3 phrases played by the examiner as echoes. So you hear a phrase, you sing it back. You hear a phrase, you sing it back. 3 phrases. And in order to reach that goal, the student is helped by a variety of exercises that have different approaches to this challenge of hearing, remembering, and repeating music. So let's try one of these. A rhythm clapback exercise. I'm going directly into it. I click new question, and I can see here, down here we always have like the flow of the exercise. I get 2 bars of count in, and then the rhythm, then I hear something that I have to clap back. Let's try. Up here, by the way, we have the question. So there are 5 questions in this one. But if I don't make it above the threshold to be urged on to the next lessons, I get 5 extra ones, or as many as I need to meet that requirement. So this is a way of differentiating between students that need a lot of support and training, and students that should rather move on. New question. I will get a count in. My turn. And we don't see anything before afterwards, because the whole idea is that you listen without being able to see anything. So here, I got it right, though a bit early on the last 4 notes. Maybe I can do better. And I'm just going to, here in the settings, the exercise options, I'm going to change the lower instrument, which can be seen here, to the microphone. Then I can input through the microphone by clapping instead of tapping the screen or the spacebar. So EarMaster is just testing that it gets the input that it needs, and that I have the right microphone selected. So I'll take another one. And we listen. I clap it. Again, I got them all right. I was a little bit late on them, and so I need to practice my precision there. And if I go to the next, this is a rhythmic clapback exercise. If I go to the next exercise, it's called melody clapback. And we've called it that because you hear a melody, but you clap back the rhythm. And when you do that, you need not only to get the attack of the notes right, but also the duration of the notes. Let's hear how that goes. 2 bars of counting, and then I clap. I hit an extra one by mistake. So the first bar, pretty good. A little late on the first one, but we can see that the sustaining of the notes was correct. Here, I got that one too early, missing that one a little bit too late, too early on this one, and then I sustained the minim only until here, which of course isn't enough. So all of these things sum up to an evaluation of only 3 stars and 69%, meaning that there is room for improvement. We can take another one. We listen. Clap. So this one was, I got 5 stars. It was excellent. Going into details, we can see that it could have been a little bit better. Slightly too early here, but otherwise very fine. So that's another way of training the musical memory. Sing back exercises are also quite important in these tests and in this course. Let's try to go to, in grade 3, the echoes. Let's take this one. Sing as echoes 3 phrases in 3, 4, minor. So the goal, so here the 3 questions we get will be played continuously, no matter if we do well or poorly. Still, the questions will be evaluated individually and cumulatively. So as I go along, I get a red mark or a green mark, and but it gives me all the melodies just in a row. Let's try it. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. So here it went very well with the 2 first one, green, green, almost 100%. Of course, I made a mistake here towards the end, going up instead of down. And since this is a sight, no, not a sight singing, but it's a sing back, it's a singing exercise, we can see the results also, not just with the markings, but also with the pitch curve. That shows me very exactly how I sang. Also that I was a little bit late in going up here, a little bit late in changing note here, and going the wrong way. Going too high, of course, as the arrow shows, and sustaining the note too far, as this little mark shows me, sustaining it over the whole bar. Yeah. And many of these exercises are also exercises that are preparatory to sight singing exercises. And when you come to grade 4 and 5, we start having regular sight singing exercises. The goal of grade 4, for example, is sight singing, is that you'll learn how to sing 5 notes from a score using only stepwise motion or skips by a third. So let's try to look at that. Grade 4, sight singing. And again, there's a lot of exercises preparing the student for the goal, which is down here. And if sight singing is a new thing for a student, then it's really not so easy. So you have to be able to find out what's the key, which intervals are used. And so there's a whole series of exercises preparing for that. Let's give it a try with the sing back exercise here. Letting us practice to sing major and minor thirds before we have to sing them from the score. So this is a sing back exercise. It's preparing us for that. We sing back while we see the score, which is also a help. I get a key, a first tone. I hear them. No, 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 no. Minor third. No, no. So on. No. Wrong, of course. No. So, and there I didn't need to get all the last questions because I was with a score of 91% here. So let's finish the exercise and go straight to the next exercise. And this is practicing identifying the major and the minor third, not actually part of the aural tests, but a really useful ability to train in relation to sight singing. So new question. And I click the answer. And if I click minor third, it tells me you're wrong, and I can hear it again, and I can compare with my answer and learn the difference between the minor and the major third. Let's move on to the next exercise here, which is then a regular sight singing exercise with the major third and the minor third. So this is just to give an idea of the progression in a short excerpt from the course. I get a key established. No, the first tone. No, no. Right. I get the key. I get a first tone. No, no. And so on. And all that is preparing me for more advanced sight singing exercises. And if we go to grade 5, we can see that for the sight singing, also we get the perfect fourth ascending added as an interval, and we go up to 6 tones, all intervals. I think I'm going to take that one from what we call grade 5 final step, which puts together the exercises for the requirements in grade 5. So the last thing here will be just to try that. Sight singing, 6 tones, all the intervals used so far. And it looks like this. Again, this is sight singing, but without actual rhythm. Just notes of equal length. Using stepwise motion and thirds. No. 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 Almost there. I missed the last one, but the other ones were fine. And so on. So with this little run through of the course, I think we have taken a look at many of the kinds of exercises in the course. So the last thing I can show you here is that by clicking this little icon down here, the results and statistics, I can see as a user, every user can see his or her results. For example, these are all my results, but if I go to this course, Aural Trainer for ABRSM, right here, I can see that I've been working with that totally 3 hours and 40 minutes with an average score of 88%. And you're probably thinking, 88? That's not too much. But I've been doing some testing as well. Let's just say that. If I click on it, I can, sorry, I can see all my results in the course. For example, grade 2B echoes. I've been practicing 8 minutes and 27 seconds. And this is if you're seeing a student's results here, it'll be easy for you to see, well, which exercises have they, how far are they? Have they passed all the grades in grade 1, like all the lessons in grade 1? Or did they already start working in grade 2? And if I click one, for example, this one, the echoes, grade 2B, I've done a lot of attempts that I didn't complete, as I mentioned, for testing purposes, etc. I have 2 that I've completed where I did all the questions, and this was one of them. I got a score of 90% the first time and 87% the next time, and I took about a minute or a minute and a half doing these exercises. So and as a teacher, you can also get an overview. Not just you won't see just your own score, but you can see all your students' score, as I showed you earlier also in the presentation. So I think I want to round off now and give room for questions if there are any questions. So
That's
yeah.
really, really good, Niels, and there's so much there. There's a lot there to take in. You've done a lot of work on this, so it's fantastic. I know that there is an ABRSM app already out there. What would be the difference between EarMaster and the ABRSM app?
Well, there are a few quite actually. The main difference is probably a matter of compatibility. That EarMaster is compatible not just with, well, both with iOS, so iPhones, and iPads, but also Mac computers, Windows computers, Chromebook, and Android devices.
Wow,
Where, as far as I know, I think the ABRSM app is only compatible with the iOS
I
devices.
think so. Yes, yeah. So that's
Yeah,
good. It's
so
more compatible, and that's yeah, that's a good thing you've got there.
I also think that when for the students, when being in the exercises, that the flow of the lessons and the pace, you very quickly get your evaluation, very quickly go to the next question and move through it. Isn't like in a way that is appealing to the user.
Mm. It's the gamification, I suppose, of oral training helps. I think
Right.
with the scoring,
Yeah.
I think that's good fun. And it's great. I mean, the fact that you can use it on a mobile device as well. So if you're sat back in the car going somewhere, you could be playing around but learning as well. I think that's great. What sort of cost is it? Could you give us an idea on how much it would cost?
Sure, sure. Well, for individual users, we have pricing that is one user for £5 per month. That's a subscription for, yeah, any device, and only £3 per month if you pay for a whole year at the start. But if you are a school, you can get, and let's say you have 100 users, then the price, of course, is much lower. And additionally, you get all the teaching tools that I briefly demonstrated. So so the prices there with 100 users, it would be just around £6 per year per user, only
Wow,
£6 per year.
that's pretty good. So if I
Yeah.
was a peripatetic teacher and I had, I don't know, 30 students I was teaching, I could, well, can I purchase 30 licenses for those 30 students and then possibly add that into the cost of whatever the lessons that I am giving would be?
Sure, sure, you could, and it that wouldn't be very much for you'd have to add for each student. If you have 30 students, you're around £8 per year. So,
Mm.
uh, yeah,
I always found that when I was learning my trumpet years and years ago, oral, anything like that to do with the exam was always an add-on to playing. So we'd be playing the studies and playing the pieces, and then oral, oh, we'll leave oral till the very last thing. I think
right,
with the use of as an app, then if I could be sent away and being given certain exercises to do, and then the teacher knows exactly what I've been doing through all the teacher notes there, I think that's probably a better use of time uh,
yeah, yeah.
rather than incorporating it within the lesson to some extent.
Yes, well, yeah, I think you're right about it, especially if you need to take quite a lot of time in your trumpet lessons to work with the instrument, of course. Even better, of course, if you can also have an extra class where you focus on oral, and then
Yeah.
use the app additionally to that. But if you can't have that, of course, you're much better off using the app for practicing.
Yeah, it'd be a shame to lose those points for an ABRSM exam just because you hadn't spent the time on it.
Yeah.
You
I
lose
always,
on the
I
scale,
always, I always say though, because I'm a teacher myself, teaching oral skills and music theory, that the app isn't meant to replace me or other teacher colleagues. I think there's something that we can do as
Yes.
humans that is important, but the addition of the app, or for the students that don't have the option of actually taking that kind of classes, it's really beneficial.
Mm. Well, I suppose if you're particularly shy, to be able to do it at home and see your marks go
Yeah.
up initially.
Right, right. Matters of intonation. You just get the pitch curve. You can see, oh, I was too low. I'll keep practicing. And you have no one laughing. We should never laugh at each other, but I mean, you don't feel shy about it.
No, I think you're right. Um, so what other questions have I got here?
There's a question in the chat I can see.
Yeah, let me have a look there. Yeah,
There's
any plans to
Susan is
extend? Yeah.
asking, any plans to extend the trainer to grades 6 to 8 ABRSM, and any plans to do a similar set of exercises for Trinity? Um, yes. Well, I can't set a date on it, and now we've just launched the first app, the first add-on to the app for grade 1 to 5. So I assume that we'll see how teachers and students receive that. If they receive it well and find it useful, and we get some good response on it, I'm pretty sure that we will start planning the next levels of it, grade 6 to 8. Until
That's right.
then, we have there are other courses in the app covering those grades. Of course, not matching exactly what the ABRSM Aural Tests require, but for example, the RCM Voice course, or the Vocal Trainer course, or the General Workshop, where you choose the areas that you want to work within, all
Mhm.
have those levels that go up to 8 or further, grade 8 or further.
I think it was interesting what you were saying earlier about other countries and how they learn oral. Have you got any other insights with the work you do globally on oral training?
Yeah, I do, and I recently went to Parma to present at a conference in Parma with the oral training teachers from all over Europe, which was really interesting because I got to you meet other teachers and learn their pedagogy. So, well, I think for Eastern Europe and Northern Europe, the Kodai tradition with the solfege syllables, even the hand signs, is quite strong. I know you are using, or some are using it in the UK as well.
That's right. Yeah.
Quite strong there. Not much stronger than in the Southern Europe, where they also use the do re mi differently, because it's the absolute do, the fixed do, instead of the relative do. And in the Northern Europe, especially Scandinavia, Norway especially, they have a tendency to be, I think, more intuitive, using improvisation, dancing, so integrating oral training with other aspects of music and movement. Yeah, and I think for the UK, with the grading system that Trinity, ABRSM, and the other exam boards, you get quite a thorough and firm foundation. It's quite systematic. I mean, so the teachers have to maybe add some extra fun to it, but I'm sure you get a good foundation, and yeah.
That's good. You said about updates coming through. I mean, do you find people get through it very, very quickly, and then they just keep trying to improve their scores, or have you got more updates that come through during the year?
Um, yes, we are expecting another update, and I'm also sure that there are going to be some really interesting features, but of course, that's very secret, so I can't say anything about it.
Yeah.
But I'm personally looking very much forward to it myself. Um, but so yes, we continuously do new updates, and we give, if you're a school user, you get the updates for free, of course. And we keep adding content, such as new courses, not just new features, but also new pedagogical content and lessons.
And have you seen it being used within the class environment? So if you've got, I don't know, 20 kids, 20 students within the class, are teachers using it within that type of setting?
Yes, and it's very interesting for me that I do lots of meetings with teachers from many countries, and I usually ask them a little bit about how they use EarMaster, and it's very different. It's very different because some use it both in class and both as homework, and others use it either or. And so, and personally, I do both myself as well, mainly as homework, but I also use some exercises in class. Some of those exercises that are fun to do together, maybe making a little competition between two groups in the class, listening, doing chord identification, for example, or doing imitation exercises like clapback or sing back is actually also possible.
That's great. And how, I suppose the students then want it to be harder and doing more difficult things. So I suppose that's where do you take it?
Yeah, yeah, and they tend to give some importance to these the what do you call it, the percentages, the score, and all that. So if you can make exercises yourself as well, and if I made some that were too difficult and they keep getting those red bars, they tell me in class. Of course, I tell them they just have to practice some more, but it's a good tool to kind of control their level, and to control if you. I know if they only get 50%, I've probably been too ambitious in the task I've given
Making it
them.
too hard. We've got a
Yeah.
question from Ray here. What is the purpose, or how do you use the musical examples?
Yes, well, the main purpose is generally to educate students and to help them improve their oral skills. And this is something I think is very important for all
Mm,
music students, because music is an invisible art, and everything you experience in music goes through your ears and passes through your brain, and you
mm,
can work with that, but you can only work with what you actually can take in and understand. So
mm,
respond to the music of others that you're playing together with, and so on.
mm,
So I think it's that's the main purpose. And the music examples, how you use the musical examples, I'm not sure I completely understand the question. The question, so you're welcome to elaborate on it. But if I what I do is I give my students some exercises
mm.
for each week. So we
Yeah.
do things in class, and then they go home and they do some things. And quite a lot of that is our exercises in EarMaster.
Mm,
So, and then the next week before that next week's class, I check their results, see how they were doing. I give them new. I may adjust some things because of what I've seen in the student results.
yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense. Well, it's absolutely fantastic, and I love the fact that you actually use it within your teaching as well. So it's not just here's a product and isn't it wonderful, but the fact you do actually use it in real life as well with your students is really good. So thank you very much for that. I see it's about 10 to 6 now, so I think we've covered a lot of things there, and we've recorded this session as well, so we'll be able to host this onto the TiME site afterwards. But yeah, thanks very much for everyone for attending, and thank you very much, Niels, for sharing all the knowledge about EarMaster.
Well, thank you for inviting me, and I'll just put my email address in the chat, because I can see there's a question about getting free access, and we we can do that for the participants, and if you're interested in getting
Great, please do.
period with free access,
Niels, there we go.
just
Yeah,
write.
Niels at earmaster.com. Fantastic.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Richard.